Welcome back for another conversation with me. My name is Allie Valentin, and I love a good, honest, real conversation about life, relationships, and womanhood. And so today, ladies, buckle up because we are gonna have ourselves a conversation about 5 ways that you can gain your man's attention and affection in a healthy way. See, here's the truth. We as women have been designed to be admired and appreciated. We have an innate need to feel loved and feel the affection of a man. But sometimes we go about it in all the wrong ways. It ultimately leads us to a spot in a relationship that is unfulfilling, unsatisfying, and truthfully not healthy. See, after years of feeling like I was struggling to earn or compete with my husband's attention and feel his love and affection, I went on a journey. I found myself in a few different counseling appointments and conversations where I realized it wasn't that my husband didn't love me. I wasn't purposely sabotaging this reality in my life. The truth was, I was competing with his masculinity. I had been fed so many different messages by society, and maybe you have too. It can feel so confusing about what it means to be a woman and to be feminine and what womanhood should entail and how that should show up in a relationship. But truthfully, it doesn't need to be that confusing. And so today I'm going to share 5 things that I found changed the way that I showed up in my marriage to be able to not just feel and accept my husband's affection and attention, but actually so that he would grow in love and affection towards me as well. Okay, let's jump in. I know it might sound simple, but be his biggest cheerleader. Now, the reality is you might have already grown to resent the thing that he's doing that he's so proud of. Or maybe it is that you feel like you're competing with the attention of him with this very thing. But the reality is we have this ability as women to make him feel like he is amazing and to actually encourage his masculinity, which will help him to grow in attention and affection towards us. And we can do that by cheering him on, by celebrating the things that he has accomplished, whether how big or small they are. So here's a really simple example. But when he comes home at the end of the day and he begins to express how he's, accomplished something, or maybe he had a really hard conversation and it went really well, you begin to cheer him on. Now, not ingenuinely, but you just begin to say, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Good job. I'm so proud of you." He wants to know that you are proud of him because he lives to make your world go round. So when you think that he's incredible, that in your world you see him as amazing, he desires to make your world feel more and more amazing. He wants to create a space that feels light and supportive to your dreams as well. But he wants to know deep down that you are cheering him on. Because men go out in the world and they feel like they are conquering the biggest monsters every single day. They take a step outside their front door and begin to face the battles of their day. And when they come home, it's this space where they get to reprieve and retrieve and rejuvenate, and you get to create that space where you get to pump him up again so that he can go out the door tomorrow and begin to fight his fights again, but with a strength he wouldn't have on his own. This was such a huge pain point in mine and Elijah's relationship. For so long, I actually truly despised and resented his work. I felt like it was constantly stealing his attention away from our marriage and our home. And I was desperate for him to be here, to be cultivating a space at home in the same amount of energy and effort he was at work. But the reality was he felt so much pain because when he came home, I didn't want to hear anything about what he had done or the job he had gotten or the meeting that he had had because I felt so hurt. But when I took this step and began to praise and appreciate the accomplishments that he had made in his day and in his week, I began to see a shift inside of him that made him want to open up and create a space with us that felt enjoyable for me. I know that this one might feel a little bit it might be a little triggering. We all know you are a strong, independent, capable woman. We get it. You can do it. And so can I. But we don't actually want to do it on our own. We might feel like we have a point to make or something to prove, but the reality is none of us want to be stranded in this world on our own to do everything on our own. We actually deep down desire for a man to show up in our life and be help. We desire for their support and for their safety and for their provision in our life. In order to experience it, you have to allow yourself to need it. Need his help. Call him when you find yourself in a pinch, or if you're just needing to talk to somebody to get to the answer that you need. Invite him into your space. Invite him into the places that you have needs that you could do on your own, but you don't have to. A man desires to be able to show up for a woman in this way. They desire deeply to be needed by a woman. This makes their world go round. Here's a really simple example. Maybe you've gone grocery shopping. The reality is you could bring all these groceries in the house on your own, but instead, you're gonna invite him into a space where he gets to show up and be masculine for you. So you're gonna text him when you get in the car and begin driving home, and you're gonna say, hey babe, I'm on my way home with lots of groceries. Any chance you're home and could help me bring them in when I get there? I have a lot and they're kind of heavy. This is a chance for him to show up and be the strength that you desire. See, it's not that you couldn't do it, but it's that you get to lean back into your feminine nature and allow him to show up and be masculine. The reality is, he deep down desires to be this for you. He may not want to put on his shoes and his clothes and go out in the cold, but because it's for you, he will fulfill that desire inside of himself when he does it. And you will thank him because you are going to celebrate the way that he shows up for you in this way. Okay, next tip, ladies. This one, challenging, I know, but girls, we got to let go of control. It is so easy to slide into that space where we feel like we need to micromanage our man, but that is the very last thing he needs. He needs to feel like he is leading this relationship. It's not that you don't have a voice, a say, that you're not as valuable as him. It's that his role is distinct. And if he doesn't feel like he's leading, he will go somewhere else and find a space to lead. That is him operating in a very healthy, masculine way. One of the greatest ways as women that we emasculate a man is when we decide to control their life. This could look on a big extreme or in those small moments throughout our day. I know for Elijah and I, it began to look like ways that I would micromanage his day. Always having an opinion about something he was doing. There was always a better way to do it. But the reality was, he needed me to just be there to support him. And if he didn't get it right, he's a man and he can figure it out. So instead of controlling him, encourage him, right? We can encourage him by celebrating him, by thanking him, by showing him the ways that he's done an incredible job and providing feedback. But you don't need to be in the small moments, right? Maybe it's that his job is to take out the trash. Instead of every single Thursday night when it's time to take out the trash, reminding him that it's time to take out the trash, you allow him to forget and pay the consequences and figure out a different plan for how to make the trash go away this week. But you don't need to micromanage, shooting him text messages, being his own personal reminder. We don't need to micromanage him. And when we allow him to step into the space where he feels like he's leading, he will desire to lead us well. He will figure out the ways in which he makes a mistake and how to not do it the next time, because he carries the weight of responsibility to care for you. Allow him to carry that weight. Tip number 4, respect his input. I know. See, it can be very hard to just agree on everything. And that's not what I'm saying. But I am saying when you honor his words and what he has to say, and you thoroughly take them into consideration and not immediately spit fire back why you think he's wrong, you'll be surprised. Your respect will create a desire inside of him to see you live fully alive. It's a beautiful balance in our life. When we see that our husband would lay down his life for us, that he would do anything for us to feel fully alive in who we've been created to be, we grow in respect for him. And vice versa, right? It's the beautiful way that God has created for man and woman to exist together. He's been designed to be respected, and we've been designed to be believed in and promoted and provided for, to be supported and admired by our husbands. And we get to create this ecosystem inside of our relationships with them. But if there isn't respect, it likely won't be that he would go to any extent to see us flourish and thrive and alive in who we've fully been created to be. So it begins with one person beginning to shift the ecosystem, if that isn't how your relationship is currently functioning. So it might begin by really taking into consideration and respecting his input in your life, so that you begin to see that shift where he would go to any effort to see you happy and alive in life. Okay, ladies, last but not least, tip number 5. Now, this one may sound a bit ambiguous, but this is the overarching journey that I have been on, and that I believe so many other women in my generation deeply need to go on as well. And this is embracing your femininity. See, society has told us our femininity is something that needs to be proven and needs to be acknowledged as important and valuable as a man. But the reality is that fight has already been won. This creates that ecosystem in our relationships that is exhausting for both of us. When we allow a man to be masculine and we embrace our femininity, he creates a space where we get to be more and more feminine, and he gets to be more and more masculine. Now, I know that might sound a little strange, but the reality is this is how we've been designed and created to be as men and women. When we embrace our design, we actually empower and inspire the men in our lives to be who they've been created to be. But when we compete with that, we actually emasculate a man and reject the very way that we have been created to be as women. A man lives to be able to create a world for you that is safe, that is nurturing, and where you are able to thrive. He brings an ability for us as women to be more bold and courageous and go to the depths of places that we wouldn't be able to on our own. So allow yourself to be feminine. Lean back in that and receive from your man. Don't try to push his giving away and prove a point that you're capable on your own. A man needs to be needed. He wants to provide for you in these ways. Allow yourself to lean into your feminine nature and not reject it. Become in tune with what that looks like for you. Okay, ladies, I hope these 5 tips really benefit your relationships and the men in your life, but they ultimately really benefit you on your journey in femininity and embracing what it looks like to live in the fullness of your God-given design as a woman. So thanks for watching today's video. If you haven't heard, I have recently launched a mentorship program called Truly Living Mentorship. It's a 6-week faith-led mentorship for young women where I am helping women step into the life they've always dreamed of and feel alive in the fullness of who they've been created to be. And so if you are interested, book your free discovery call by February 16th. I'll leave the information in the description box. You can also go to alivalatin.com. And like always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and I will see you all next time.